G'day folks, Wren here, and it is time for December's TBRGate. The last TBRGate of the year, and the last one with this board. Lots has been happening with TBRGate lately. I didn't film one in November because my laptop broke, so I couldn't edit the video, and by the time I got my laptop back it was halfway through November and I was like, I'll just skip it for this month. I was originally not going to do a TBRGate in December and I was going to do something like really fun with it, but then I couldn't be bothered, in all honesty. Just kind of on a whim I decided to redo this board, and I'm really glad that I did. I've made a lot of changes to it and I have changed some of the prompts around and made some different ones, but the gist of the game is still going to be exactly the same. It's all basically the same, just a fresher looking board that's not so big and prompts in different places so that I might be able to get a little bit more variety this time around. That's for 2024. That will be premiering in February 2024, I think, because I still need a lot of time to redo all of the prompts in the graphics, so that's going to take me a little bit. So for now we just have this board for December, the last go around. So for readathons or anything happening in December, we have the QueerLit Readathon, which is happening from the 4th to the 10th of December. This is one of my favourite readathons because it's queer, and I will be going through my TBR for the QueerLit Readathon at the end of this video, so stick around for that. Then we also have Bookemon. So if you don't know, Meredith from Reading with Merb has created this amazing year-long readathon, and it's so cool. I'm obsessed with it. And in December we are getting our starter Bookemon, so there'll be like a small kind of round where you can get one Bookemon and you can get some tools that will help you out in 2024. So I'm super looking forward to that. As of yet, I don't know what any of the prompts are for any of the tools. We'll find those out on December 1st. For now, I'm not gonna try and make a TBR for the tools of Bookemon. I think I'm just gonna go with the flow, read things as I want. Because December's already going to be crazy enough, I don't need more pressure. But the Bookemon prompt that I'm going with is I'm going for the Earth Stone, because we got to choose between 3 stones and I chose the earth one, and the prompt for that is to read a book with trees on the cover. Now, as you will see with it throughout my TBRGate, many of these books have trees on them, so I'll read whichever one I read. There's no set TBR for that either, it's just whatever happens will happen. That's probably all you need to know in December. So let's get into the first spin of TBRGate. So in the spirit of the seasons, we're just gonna randomly put this somewhere, and we're not having any hive ships. Let's go here. Okay, this is where I'm gonna start. So no hive ships, starting in a random spot. This is as festive as we're getting this year. So spin number 1, 2. Bido. So the first glyph that we landed on was Bido, with the episode for that being Suspicion and the prompt for that being Friendship. Suspicion is a good episode and I forget about it all the time, so they think there's a mole inside Atlantis. Bates thinks it's Taylor. It's a whole big thing. The reason this prompt is Friendship is because the team, like John, Rodney and Aiden, they never waver. They're like, Taylor is our girl, she is a part of the team, she could never intentionally lead the Wraith to us and all this kind of stuff. Just, they're so loyal to her, and I really appreciate that loyalty. But for this, I have decided to go with Love Me for Who I Am, Volume 3 by Kaurna. This is definitely one of my favorite manga series. This is about a non-binary teenager who is struggling to fit in and figure out themselves. They meet this boy at school and the boy's like, I know where you'll fit in. He takes them to this cafe that his sister runs. And at that cafe, it is served by, they have a specific name. Can't remember what their name is, but I think the name is meant to be men that dress as girls, but that's not what a lot of these people are. People at this job, one of them them is just obsessed with cosplay and thinks this is really, really fun. Another one often dresses more feminine because he's in a relationship with another guy, and to keep it kind of on the down low, if he could pass as being female, then it's less suspicious. So there's some of them that are actually trans women, and maybe some of them didn't know that at the time, but our non-binary teenager is like, oh no, I don't fit here because I don't want to be a woman. And there's a whole lot of things that go down, but they're all very accepting of each other, and just all of the people that work at this cafe, they form this like bond with each other because like they all kind of understand similar issues. I almost don't want to say found family because I feel like they're not there yet, but they also are. It's just so beautiful. It's just about these people at this cafe working and figuring out who they are, entering into relationships, like romantic relationships, but also just developing these friendships as well. And it's beautiful, and I almost cry every volume that I've read so far, which is obviously only the first two, but I almost cry because I understand and I feel it so deeply as a non-binary person myself, and just everything our main character says, I'm like, yes, I see you, and I appreciate that you're on page, because like I don't get that representation very often. I am obsessed with it. Please everyone go read it. Spin number 2. Is that 8? Yeah, 8. Aggesis. The next glyph we landed on was Aggesis, with the episode for that being Runner, and the prompt being a new to you author. Runner is the first episode where Jason Momoa graces the screens of Stargate Atlantis as the character Ronan Dex. And Ronan is a runner who is someone that has been captured by the Wraith, but then implanted with a tracking device and then set free. The Wraith basically use runners for sport. So the book I've chosen for this is Satan Claus is Coming to Town by Catherine Livens. But this is one of the books that was on my Christmas TBR, and it sounds like a really fun time because it is queer, which is awesome. But this girl writes to Santa Claus to ask that Santa Claus like make her dad happy again after a divorce. Only she spells Santa wrong and spells it Satan, and Satan gets the letter. And then he's like, you know what, I'll come down there and I'll help. And then Satan ends up falling in love with this girl's dad, and romance blooms from there. And it just sounds like fun and ridiculous, and I'm really here for it because not only do I love queer romances, but I also love single parent romances as well. And the fact that this is Satan, not Santa, love it so much. This also does have a Christmas tree on it, so it could work for Bookemon as well. Spin number 3, 6, and that's a Chevron. Let's pick a character card. Let's go with this one. Yes! It is the man himself, Lieutenant Colonel John Shepard. Very nice. Oh, I was hoping I would get him. Next up, I landed on a Chevron, because of course I did. None other than Lieutenant Colonel John Shepard, the main character of the show, one of my loves. I adore him. He's amazing. So the prompts for him are Flyboy, a young adult sci-fi, It's Queer in the Phantom, an LGBTQA plus rec, and A Classy Guy, a modern classic. Now for this, I could have gone with some others, but I just wanted as many queer books as I could possibly get. So we're going with the queer prompt. And for this one, I'm going with Her Night with Santa by Adriana Herrera. This is a, obviously, queer Santa romance, and it's a female-female romance between Christina Kringle and potentially another magical creature. I'm not too sure about that one, but they seem to just have like a night of passion with each other right around Christmas time, and then possibly go their separate ways, possibly not. I don't know what to expect from this. It is a short, steamy novella, like there's not much I can tell you, but I have always been interested in reading an Adriana Herrera book because I've heard really great things, so I'm definitely looking forward to giving this one a go. Alright, spin number 3 again. 10. Another Chevron. Okay. I'll go with this one. Oh, it's Amelia! Nice. Okay, I like Amelia. And then the next character card that was picked was Amelia Banks. And the prompts for her are a technician, an ebook, a newbie, a new to you author, and the future is female, a female author. Now for this one, I technically chose ebook, but I have just realized that all three of the prompts work for this one. So like, I did amazing there without even realizing it. But the book I'm choosing for this is Dipped in Holly by Dana Islay. But this is another steamy Christmas romance erotica thing that I heard of a long time ago, and I'm finally gonna get around to it. In this one, a girl is dumped on Christmas or Christmas Eve. She's dressed as slutty Mrs. Claus, and to make her feel better, she has sex with someone in the bathroom. I don't really know. That seems to kind of be it. It is, again, another short one. It's basically just going to be the steamy scene and maybe a little bit of character work. That's usually what these books are kind of like. Spin number 3 again. 5. Lenchen. Then the next glyph we landed on was Lenchen, with the episode being Satita, and the prompt for that being set in your own country. So in this episode, Ronan is captured by a wraith, again for sport, and he's set free on his home world, which was destroyed by the wraith 7 years ago when he was first captured. So he has to just run around this desolate world filled with corpses and remembering that all of these people he knew. It's very sad on that point, and Ronan goes through a lot on that episode. So for this one, I'm gonna go with Nira, Deep Time Traveler. Actually, I think the book title is The Broken Rainbow and the series is called Nira. I'm not sure. This is by Tasma Walton and Samantha Campbell. This is an Indigenous middle grade that I randomly saw at Big W a couple days ago, and so I bought it. But this is about a young Indigenous girl who somehow goes back in time to the time of the dream time, and I think she has to help the dream time actually do the dreaming because something's out of balance. And she needs to help put it back in balance to like save the world, I guess. But it's really short. It sounds like it's going to be really, really fun. And there are some pictures in there, so they are going to be great. I'm looking forward to this. It sounds like it's going to be really cute. And I like the idea of this young girl getting sent back in time to like fulfill a task. Spin number 4. 3. Salma. The next glyph we landed on was Salma, with the episode being The Prodigal and the prompt for that being a final book. The Prodigal is, it's an episode I really need to rewatch because it's so good. But this is a Michael episode, and if you know who Michael is, you understand. And Michael actually takes over Atlantis, and he has Taylor kind of captured with him and Torrin, so scary. The reason I chose final book for this episode was because this is the final episode of Michael, because he's finally gone. Michael and Taylor, they have their ending, and it's pretty good and definitely darker than Stargate usually goes, so it was a really, really good time. But for final book, I have chosen to go with Death Note Volume 6 by Sugumi Oba and Takashi Obata. This is the Black Edition, so volumes 11 and 12 are bound up with this, and it is the end of Death Note, which will be a fun time. I have been reading this year and it's really good. This is a manga about a boy named Light. He finds a Death Note, which is a notebook that belongs to a Shinigami, and if you write someone's name in the Death Note, they will die within 30 seconds, I think it was. And you can write in specific things of how that person will die, otherwise they will just die by a heart attack. Light uses the notebook initially to try and kill all of the worst criminals to try and make the world a better place. He starts that way. Things kind of go out of control from there. The authorities become aware of what Light is doing. They don't know it's Light, but they call this serial killer Kira. And then Kira is just this big entity that the police are trying to capture and outsmart. But Light is also in on this investigation, so it's a really interesting time. It's so fun. I love the Shinigami. I love Light's brain and the way he can think of things. It's really interesting. Hopefully we'll get lots more Shinigami in this, and hopefully it'll have a satisfying ending. Spin number 5. It's right on the cusp, so let's go 16. Why not? We go Poco Ray. The next glyph I landed on was Poco Ray, with the episode for that being Vengeance, and the prompt for that being a paranormal horror. Vengeance is 1000% one of the best episodes, because it has the team investigating somewhere underground. They are kind of isolated. They are trying to find Taylor, who has been captured by Michael. They are also being chased by some of Michael's hybrid creation monsters that he's created. It's very creepy, and it's so fun. It's like a monster hunt while they're trying to save someone. The book I chose for the prompt was Kissed by the Krampus by Elle Everland. This is a queer monster romance, which I am thrilled by, and this is again on my Christmas TBR, which is also good. And this is about a guy who has been suffering with PTSD, so he kind of moves away from some stress to try and help his PTSD, but he ends up getting hurt, I think on a hike, and when he kind of comes to, he's in a completely different place, and he's being taken care of by a Krampus. Like, yes, a Krampus. It's gonna be so good. So good. I love Krampus, and the fact that this Krampus is like an actual like mythological creature, so good. And it's queer, which is awesome. And there's like this hurt comfort thing going on. It's like one of my most anticipated reads of December, honestly. Spin number 6. 10. Free space. Cool. And then I landed on a free space, so that's always fun. Nice little treat for the end of the year. So the book I chose for this is a Christmas book, but it's not on my Christmas TBR because I don't technically own it. I had got this on KU, and like I don't know why I got it, but I did, because like why would I intentionally get a Christmas book? I don't know, but it's queer, so maybe that was why. It's called Grounded for Christmas by Daisy Landish, and this is really short. It's 23 pages, so I can get through that really quickly. It's these two women that are like stuck at an airport because their flight got cancelled or something, so they connect with each other. I don't really know how much you can really talk about with 23 pages, but there it is. I think I really only want to read it because it's 23 pages. And what will hopefully be our last spin, 3. Olve. And then the last glyph for the final TBRGate of 2023 was Olvi, with the episode being Grace Under Pressure and the prompt for that being water themes. Ooh, Grace Under Pressure, definitely one of like my top 5 episodes. I love it so much because it is focused on Rodney, and he is my favorite character. And Rodney gets trapped in a jumper that is sinking, and he's stuck there. And the puddle jumper is filling up with water, and he's trying to save himself because he's in the ocean all by himself, and he doesn't know if anyone is actually coming to save him. Of course they are, because they care about Rodney. Rodney's also having some hallucinations during this time because he's running out of oxygen. But the book I chose for this was Slick by Juniper Jordan. This is 31 pages, and it is a queer pirate romance. So I recommended this for, I believe, the first round of Adventure-a-thon, and I hadn't actually read it. And then Kirsty went ahead and read it, and she said it was actually good, so I figure I should probably read it. I mean, what more do you need to know besides queer pirate romance? It does seem a little dom sub-y, because there's talk about belonging to the ship captain. I think it's really just a few sex scenes. I think that's all the book is about. So I'm finally going to get to that one, and I won't feel as bad for the fact that I recommended it without reading it. I'm going to try and not do that in 2024. So that was my TBRGate. Now we'll get on to my QueerLit Readathon TBR. I think I'm just going to go through some of the books, give very little synopses, and tell you what prompts that they would fit for. I can almost guarantee that this is going to change by the end of December or by the end of the Readathon. I overestimate how much I can read, and then I often just mood read things anyways, and they end up like working for some prompts. So who knows what I'll actually end up reading, but this is what I want to kind of go for. So the group book we have is The Sunbearer Trials by Aiden King Thomas. There is actually 3 different group books for this round, but the one that I really want to read is Sunbearer Trials because I'm ashamed to say I haven't read it yet. It sounds like a great book. It is giving Percy Jackson vibes with the demigod thing, but it is centered around Hispanic culture. But that will fit for the group book, and it might fit for some others. I'm just gonna read it, see what happens. Then I have Lost Without a Clause by Kaya Lassalle. This was a book that Sasha from Sash Reads recommended to me, and what better time to read it than now? It is a sapphic romance during the holidays in a small town. That definitely sounds like my vibe. Honestly, I don't know more than that. But Sasha said it was really good, so I'm gonna read it because I adore Sasha. But I think I'm just putting this one in the like choose your own space because it wasn't super fitting any others. Then I'm going to try and read Dragged to the Wedding by Andrew Gray, and this will fit the drag space because this seems to be about a drag artist that is asked to attend a wedding with someone to pretend to be a woman and be this guy's girlfriend, but I think this guy's gay. I'm not sure what's happening, but like there was an element of fake dating in this, so I'm there, and it was a drag artist, so I'm there. I'm really not giving you synopses for these books because I'm running out of energy, so this is all you're gonna get, and I'm so sorry. And then for Small Town, I put in Satan Claus is Coming to Town, which I already talked about, but I could also obviously use Lost Without a Clause or many others. I'll see what I read when I read it, you know? Then I want to try and read Dark Space by Lisa Henry. This is going to kind of fit for a former DNF prompt because I started this once, I got like a chapter in, and then I stopped and I was like, no, if I'm going to read this, I need to read it again at a different time because I wasn't in the right headspace for it. But this is kind of a sci-fi dystopian-ish novel about people in space, and I think they have to like share a heart or heartbeat or something, and they start sharing memories as well, these 2 guys, and it's intense for them. So it sounds like it could be good, and I've been wanting to read this for years, so it's about time I get to it. Then for recently acquired, I'm gonna go with Grounded for Christmas, which I've already talked about. Then I have Blometji by Amanda McNeil. This is going for the indie or self-pubbed prompt because I was sent this by the author several months ago and I tried to read it and I was really enjoying it, but then I just put it down, so I would really like to finish it. It is a Thumbelina retelling. Like, that sounds awesome. From what I could already tell from the bit that I read, I think there are some non-binary characters, which is really cool. Then for the middle grade space, I would really like to read Dear Mothman by Robin Gao. This is one I've been keen to read for a little while because Mothman. I'm obsessed with Mothman. But I think in this book it is just this kid writing to Mothman to like get out their emotions or something. I'm not quite sure, but it's Mothman. I want to read it. Then for Love Me for Who I Am, I have this down for a graphic novel or, you know, comic or manga, and for Relatable because it is about a non-binary teenager and I am non-binary, though I am not a teenager. Haven't been for a while. It works, and I definitely relate to this so much, so definitely fits that prompt. For the escape prompt, I'm going to interpret it as a book I couldn't escape from. And so for that, I'm choosing Slick because I can't escape from it. I need to read it because I recommended it and then other people read it. So I need to like claim responsibility and read it. And then for the holiday prompt, literally any book I'm reading in December because I'm trying to read Christmas books, so that could definitely be anything. Also, many of these books will fulfill the Progress Pride flag prompt as well, and the only 2 that I'm really missing that I'm still trying to figure out are Librarian Rec and Southern Hemisphere, because I'm trying to find like the right Australian queer book that I want to read, but it's probably going to be an N.R. Walker because N.R. Walker is kind of my go-to for Australian queer books, so it'll probably be that, but I'm not really sure yet. And like I said, this TBR is likely to change throughout the week. I am really hoping that I can vlog my QueerLit Readathon experience. I would really like to. I have kind of gotten out of the habit of vlogging, so fingers crossed I can get back into it and do a good job. Who who knows, we'll see. December is a very stressful time. So that is going to be all of the books I'm going to try and get to in December. Honestly, I don't know if I'll get to all of these, and I'll probably get to other things instead, because that's just how I roll. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and you won't see the board anymore, so goodbye to the board. But I hope you all have a wonderful end to the year. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.